moving on to today's session, I'm more than pleased to introduce our moderator for the day, Rohit Dev. So I will give a small introduction on Rohit and then hand it over to him. So Rohit is a founding partner of Ideas 91, a knowledge advisory distribution company bridging the gap between manufacturers and retailers in the consumer goods space. Rohit is a seasoned entrepreneur with a proven track record of in procurement, distribution, brand building, and global supply chain. As a partner, he was instrumental in building the brand Electa in the Middle East and Africa. Currently at Ideas 91, he helps develop and distribute various brands, including some belonging to the Fortune 500 companies. He has helped shape their products, brands, and sales strategies across India, Middle East, and Africa. So he's also the founding chairman of YPO Dubai Downtown chapter and the current director of events for the Dubai chapter of TiE. He was also the founding board member of the HBS Club of the Middle East, Harvard Business School, and he's also an investor on the board of companies in addition to advising and mentoring entrepreneurs. So without further ado, Rohit, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Fiza. Thank you so much. It's great to be moderating this event. The speakers, the panelists are wow, according to me. So I'd like to go ahead and introduce them. Christine Assouad, who started her entrepreneurial journey at a very young age of 25, and she started that out of a coffee shop. She goes by the adage, you can be whoever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do. So she has successfully built multiple businesses. She also is an avid mentor. She runs a mentoring program for women called the Catalyst of Growth. And she is very, very passionate about supporting new businesses as well as growing her current business. She has launched a fast food Lebanese restaurant called Citron, which has become one of the largest Lebanese chain across the region. And she is also the incoming regional education chair for YPO. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you.
I'd love to introduce Sara. Sara, I would say, has done it all at a very young age. She has been a consultant with McKinsey, a dream job for most people, then moved to head MBC Ventures, in which she funded a lot of startups and then got into operations, starting her own business called Citron. It is one of the fastest growing businesses in the region for lunch boxes. And the idea came to her because her son didn't get the right lunchbox. So welcome, Sara, and would love to talk to both of you around your journey and around your power of unlimited potential. Thank you both for joining.
Thank you, Rohit.
Thank you.
I'd love to start with Sara. Sara, can you tell us how, I was discussing this just before the call with you, that, many people from operations want to exit and become venture capitalists, etc. You've done exactly the reverse. So would love to hear your journey around this.
Sure. So I started my journey I studied finance in a big business school in France. And then from there, I was an investment banker here in Dubai. That was my first job. And while being an investment banker, every time on my mind, on the trading floor, I looked at so many numbers, and all those numbers did never seem real to me. Because like on a screen, you see somebody making $10 million and another person losing $5 million. You don't even know if this money really exists or it's just numbers on a screen and it's a game. So from there, I moved to consulting, hoping that I would get more real experience. And there I worked a lot on the government sector. So it was really good. But then I was always very I missed that corporate feel where I wanted to help an organization build a product or build or solve real issues. So from there, I moved to MBC, where I did, as you said, venture capital, but also I did a lot of strategy and investment for the group. We acquired a lot of entities. I worked a lot with bankers, with lawyers, and all that. Although I could feel that my skills were helping the company grow, again, I always had that feeling that it was not real. Because again, you speak about big numbers and the company already existed. I didn't feel that my job was actually impacting the lives of people the way I feel it right now. And I think this is what I was looking for, is not just a salary or a big name, but something more real. And I think when I say real is what you call operational.
Very true, but it's getting down to the brass tacks, right?
Exactly.
Coming to Christine. Christine, I've heard this story many times. I'd love people to hear this story from you directly. How you became an entrepreneur out of a coffee shop, and what motivated you to start first Dunkin' Donuts and then Semsum, please.
Well, actually, a lot of university professors don't like the story because the reason why I actually started my business is that I was spending more time at coffee shops than at school when I was doing my master's at McGill in Montreal. And this is where the idea came to bring a coffee shop to Lebanon. It was at the end of the Civil War. There was practically nothing in Lebanon. And I liked this positive vibe feel that was in the stores. And this is how it started. We started with the first Dunkin' in 1998, and the aim of Dunkin' has always been to spread happiness and to put a smile on people's faces. And this is what's been driving me. So it's like the purpose behind the brands that we're operating. So for Semsum, it's about taking Lebanese cuisine to the world. With Home and Abide is supporting Lebanese restaurant while providing new options for Dubai. For the mentoring program is like growing others and seeing these members like grow every time. So it's mostly the purpose and the growth are the two things that have been pushing me for the past 24 years.
Wow, that's great. You've also been in the top 100 Arab women recognized by Arabian Business for 7 years running. How did that feel and how did that come about, right?
Well, the first time it feels amazing because you feel that you can inspire other people. So I think all these recognitions, the main aim is to push younger entrepreneurs or younger female leaders to see that, as you were saying at the beginning, that there's no limits to your dreams or to your ambitions. Like you can be whoever you want to be and do whatever you want to do. And when we are highlighting women, whether like Sara, myself, or whoever that were successful in what they're doing, it's mostly to inspire and to push others to break the glass ceiling and to push their barriers and to be whoever they want to be.
Sara, thank you, Christine. Sara, tell us how your experience of a lunchbox with your son made you start this business. And you did say that you'll tell us what motivated you to drive this and grow it, right?
Sure. So my story is very, very simple, but I think a lot of people in the corporate world can resonate with what I went through. So while being in corporate, I truly believe that I didn't have a passion and I didn't know what passion was. I'm not an artistic person. I don't know how to do anything. So I believed passion can only go with arts, and I get very well paid in a corporate job, and it is what it is. You just do PowerPoints and Excel sheets. So when I had this issue of lunch boxes with my son, so basically I didn't find the right product here in Dubai. He's a very picky eater, so his food was mixing, the lunchbox was leaking, he wouldn't eat at school. So it was really hard to find a product. And while creating the product, I never thought to myself that that's gonna be a business and that tomorrow I will resign to do this, because for me it was just fun. It was trying to do something to solve an issue. And basically, even when we launched, I didn't have a trade license, I didn't have a warehouse, I didn't know that you could breed food touching material without a specific testing. I think ignorance is a blessing, because today I know, and I know how many hurdles you have, but I just did it. And I was lucky enough to be in Dubai, that everything is so easy that you can make things work and you can try at a very low price. I think when we tried and it really worked, as I told you, we had to produce 3,000 lunch boxes as the minimum order quantity of our first order in China. And I brought it here, and I had no idea how I would sell 3,000 lunch boxes. My mind was like, okay, I may sell it in a year. I may have to offer everything to charity. What do I do with 3,000 lunch boxes? And basically we sold out within 3 weeks without any marketing, any branding, anything, just online. And it was a good start and a good way for me to understand that there was life outside of corporate, and that you could do something that impacted people's life and feel very happy and proud about it. And this is where I discovered that I had a passion for that, only because I tried it. I think if I never went ahead and did it out of my ignorance and thinking everything is easy and I can find a solution for everything, I would never do it, because I'm somebody that is very risk averse in general and overthinker. But here I just did it for fun without thinking I would make money or that would become my full-time job one day. So just in a nutshell, this is how it started, and we've been growing year on year, honestly. Like the growth has been exponential. Even during Corona, our business was quite resilient and we kept on growing. And today we're reaching levels, as you said, you're inviting me here to discuss about this. I have a lot of, I mean, I can't believe it myself. As I said, it's just a fun project, nothing else.
So my question to that is, can you tell all of us who are listening what the 3 weeks, obviously there was a run up to the 3 weeks that you were able to sell everything in 3 weeks. Yeah. How was that run up and how were the 3 weeks?
Well, honestly, it was quite scary because the products arrived to Dubai the first week of August. Out of a total coincidence, I didn't know there was something called back to school that was that massive in the region. So they just arrived in the first week of August, and this is basically where it flew. That 3 weeks went crazy, where I needed to arrange a pickup driver to pick up things from a warehouse that we were renting at the end of Dubai that had super strict timings and all that hurdles. And I just didn't see anything as a problem. I was just like, fine, they ordered, I would go myself, I will help them load. I don't mind, it's just fun. And I think that 3 weeks went by so quickly, and I didn't believe myself that after that 3 weeks, I got a call saying, well, now we need 8,000 lunch boxes in the next 2 months. And then I was like, yeah, but I don't have them. I mean, we just did this to solve my son's issue and that's it. And this is where we started thinking, well, if there is a demand, there's probably not 3,000 moms that bought the lunchbox to make me happy. I don't know as many moms. So if it's solving a real issue, let's do it seriously. And this is where it started.
Great, great. Coming to you, Christine, you told me Samsung started out of a taxi driver out of the US asking you, what is Lebanese cuisine? Is that correct? And please tell us that story.
Absolutely. And actually, everything I did came from a story, because this is usually a story happens and it gives me an idea to start a business. And this is how we were able to create many businesses. And for Samsung, it was a taxi driver in Washington, D.C., who didn't know what Lebanese cuisine was. And so I started talking to him about the hummus, the tabbouleh, every single reason why we love so much Lebanese food. And it was his idea. He said, you're so passionate about it, you should open a Lebanese restaurant. And this is what we did. So we opened the first restaurant and started growing. And actually, the best thing about all the stories I have is that it's not only my stories, it's the stories of the whole team. So you have a group of passionate people, whether at Dunkin or at Samsung or Home and a Bite or at every single project that we work. It's a teamwork that believe in this story, that believe in this mission, and that is making it happen.
So your first Samsung was in the US or was in Lebanon?
No,
and then
it was in Beirut, the first one.
In Beirut. Right. How did this idea about Home in a Bite come about? I know you're very passionate and that's your latest venture. So can you tell us a little about Home in a Bite?
Absolutely. Actually, I was based in Lebanon most of my life, but after the Beirut explosion, I decided to move to Dubai. So this is a new adventure for me and my daughters. And I've been trying to be the link because I'm passionate about two things, F&B and mentoring. So I wanted to create two projects, one in F&B, one in mentoring. And I had time. This is a luxury that I never had before, to take a step back and to think what I really wanted to do. And Home and a Bite came from an idea of being the bridge between the F&B sector in Lebanon that is going through a very hard time and the Gulf markets that, even though they've been through also a hard time with COVID and all, they still had a lot of opportunities. So we partnered with Kitopi, which is the leading cloud kitchen in the region, and we brought Lebanese restaurants for delivery with Kitopi. We started in the Marina area. We're now in the Motor City area and going to downtown in the next couple of weeks. And I love these kind of projects because they have a social impact and a business impact to them. And at the beginning, all of my focus was in growing my own business. But with time, I'm even more excited in growing other people's businesses.
So how many kitchens are there and what is the best restaurant out of them all?
Okay, so actually we have two for now. We have a third one opening soon. The Lebanese restaurant, because we call them restaurants from Lebanon, it's Lebanese food that are doing the best. So we have Taouli, we have Ummi, we have Sumsum. You have to check them on Deliveroo. So just open the app, search Home and a Bite, and you'll have the brands that are around you, and all are super good and very similar to the taste that you would get in Lebanon. And this is something we're very proud about.
Everybody talks about focus. One should focus on doing just one thing, just with the bullseye. So you currently run 4 businesses and are passionate and mentoring a lot of other people. So my question is, what do you say about people who say focus?
That's a great question, Rohit. This is the first time someone asked me this. Actually, I love creating businesses. So the first 10 years, I've been focused on Dunkin and growing the business. But once I understood how to put system procedures and most importantly, build the best possible team for the business, then can empower the team and create something else. So I'm still the booster or the engine of Dunkin, but I have an amazing team at Dunkin and Sumsum that are running the show on a daily basis and that don't need me on a daily basis. So I have more time to focus on new ventures, new ideas, new businesses. And every time the idea is to build a system, to build an amazing team, and then go to the next adventure or the next project. So it's the team is super focused, and I overlook multiple businesses.
Great. Sara, coming back to you, one of the first, I think the first woman entrepreneur in the region to raise venture capital funding, which is not in the tech space. How does that feel? And was that a challenge? And tell us how that came about.
So basically, when I decided to leave my full-time job and concentrate on Citron, I had some time to do the strategy and where I want to take the company and what would success mean to me. And while doing this, I realized, as Christine just said, I can't do it alone. I need a team, and I need a good team. And as you know, a good team comes with a price tag. So I had to raise funds not only to hire the good team in Dubai, but internationally, because my vision was to take our product to the world, that we should be able to sell these products wherever, whenever. They're safe, to be sold in the States, themselves to be sold in Europe. So why not take them everywhere? We're already paying all that money to make them safe and great. So let's other moms use it. So when I started doing my pitch and contacting basically my network of people that I knew from my previous job, I think the feedback was always the same. We know you. We love what you do. We work together. We have no problem into getting a meeting and them reading a deck and giving me a time to discuss. And I think the first answer I would get was, you're making a lot more money than any of our tech startup at your stage. But you're not tech, and our mandate is tech. So we like you, but we really can't take it through. And I think I had quite a lot of those. I may say maybe 90 of no's from the region, or even more. And finally, one of the VCs was, our kids use your product. We like it. We think you have something special. You're non-tech and we can't do non-tech, but you know what? We're gonna go and fight. And they went ahead and fought, and they got it. And they told me during the investment committee that every single person were like, you guys are out of your mind. This is absolutely out of scope. And they said, you need to meet the person. If you see there is a real passion. She's a fighter, and we're 100% sure that this is what we need in our portfolio. And they came and did it and took the full round and said, we don't want anybody to come with us. We want the maximum equity, and we already know who your next investors will be because we can see it. So it was challenging. It took me a little bit of time, but then when it worked, it worked.
Was it helpful for you being part of MBC Ventures? Thus, people in the industry knew you, and was it so? You know, as you know, TiE as a platform targets entrepreneurs and startups. So, a great question would be, if someone wants to raise capital in the non-tech space, how do you recommend that startup should go about things? And was it easy for you based on the fact that you came from the industry and you knew people?
So twofold. I think I'm very grateful that I worked at McKinsey, that I have quite a solid finance acumen. I'm very structured. I know all that stuff. It also helped to understand, being for 7 years on the investor side, what would the investor expect? So I knew what type of questions they want, and I knew I needed to sell them a dream. Say, look, we're going to dream together and we're going to dream big. If you're selling and being very risk averse and telling them I'm going to do a 5% growth year on year, you're not solving their issue, because they're selling a dream as well to their own investors, right? So it's a whole chain of dreams that you need to fulfill. I think it did help that I had that type of experience before. But most importantly, I think every single person I talk to will say, well, we can feel the passion, and we can feel that you're not doing it just because you have nothing to do and it's a project on the side. We feel, you know, where you're going, we can see the numbers, we can see the growth. So my issue in general is that being an investor or an entrepreneur today, what I've seen a lot is that people are not ready for venture capital money, because venture capital money comes with a lot of requirements. So on top of doing a due diligence and the data room and a financial model and all that stuff that they require, does not come naturally for a person that is maybe an engineer that is really good in innovation and doesn't know how to do it. What I found very also sad here, and I don't know if I should say it that way or no, but a lot of people are trying to take advantage of those people who don't know. So they may have great ideas and they bring them to say, well, give me 20,000 dirham and I'm going to do a business plan for you, and you're going to get VC money thanks to that. I just think it's not right for a small entrepreneur to go through these steps. I just think that you have to do your own business plan. And a lot of time, I've been mentoring a lot of people. When I was at MBC, as part of MBC Ventures, we used to give mentorship. But also right now, a lot of friends or people reach out to me and say, how did you do it? And my first thing was, you got to do your own business plan. You got to understand what makes you make money and what makes you lose money, and what are the driver of revenues and what are the drivers of costs. And don't be scared of a very complex Excel sheet. Write it down to me on a piece of paper. and we'll do it one by one. And it's very simple and easy. And I think once you get confidence, today you can ask me about any number about Citron. I'm not prepared at any time of the day. I can tell you anything because I know it inside out, and I'm not using a third-party consultant that is telling me what to tell you and not to raise funds. And I think this is very, very important. Another important thing is scalability. A lot of people in the non-tech space, unfortunately, are doing things that are very relevant to one market. So if you are doing, I don't know, a product that is only for Dubai summer, you can't expect to be able to scale all over the world. And that's a big red flag for the investors. So they want products that are easy to scale, product that can scale fast, that talk to everyone, and the rest, you know, exit multiples, all that stuff.
You know, both of you are great mentors. Tell us one interesting anecdote that you both have to share while mentoring that someone asked you or someone spoke about. And
I think the latest one I had was the 20,000 dirham. And I really felt like it's an anecdote, but it's not funny that that person was willing to pay so much money to get a business plan done. And I just thought it was, I'm like, please, just let's do pen and paper. And we did pen and paper for so many days. And that person had a brilliant business, but she didn't know how much revenue she was making. So sometimes you're going out of zero, where you tell to a person, do me a favor, every night, send me by WhatsApp how many products you sold and how much cash you collected. And then after a month, she knew what revenue she was making. Then the step 2 was to make her write me all the expenses, just send it to me on WhatsApp. And I think when they do that and realize that this is a business plan, actually, is just to understand your revenues and your costs over a period of time. That's it. It's very simple.
True. Christine, for you, any anecdotes that come to mind?
Not an anecdote per se, but what I was mostly, I've been mentoring for 10 years now. So I mentored more than 30 entrepreneurs, mostly female entrepreneurs, one-to-one. But now I started online classes. So we have a group of presently 22 members. So I'm doing group mentoring, which for me is even more interesting. But what strikes me the most is that how much these entrepreneurs don't realize how great they are. And actually what we do as mentors is just building confidence. Like I can give them information, obviously, and we do classes and we bring guest speakers. So there is content, this is for sure, but it's mostly when we do case studies or when someone is presenting their companies and everyone are sharing their experiences, it's mostly realizing how good they are compared to their peers, realizing how much they know, even if they did not go to business school, or even as Sara was saying, they think they don't know how to do a business plan, but it's not rocket science at the end of the day. So it's mostly what I love the most about mentoring is seeing how they are growing and how their confidence is building, because you have amazing entrepreneurs that don't know they are amazing. And this is what we do as mentors.
Very nice. Family and business, you know, for men, it's far easier than for women. So would love thoughts from both of you around that. How do you balance it? And what are your thoughts around family, managing family and business at the same time?
Do you want me to go first or whatever?
You can. Yeah.
For me, I always say that I'm not a superhero. I have an amazing support system. My kids are quite small. My son is 5-year-old and my twins are 18 months. So they're quite demanding. So I do rely a lot on very good nannies, on a schedule for every single part of their day. They have an activity scheduled. So I do spend time every weekend scheduling their whole week so I can focus on my work. But I could never do this without that. If I go on vacation alone with them, I can't work, and I can feel that I'm not doing anything, and it's hard. So I love my support system in Dubai. If it was not in Dubai, I would have my parents probably back home or something that supports me. But I don't believe those people that stand up and say, well, I do it all. I built an amazing business between midnight and 4 a.m. when my kids were sleeping. I always believe people need to be honest about the support system. Otherwise, it's hard.
True. Christine.
Absolutely. I absolutely relate to everything Sarah was saying. Support system, parents, my mom, if she wasn't helping, I couldn't have done 10% of what I'm doing, organization. But for me, it's also setting expectations because, you have either people who say you cannot do it all or people who say you can do it all. Like for me, you can do it all, but maybe not necessarily at the same time. So if I'm launching a business, I know I'm launching a business. I know it's going to be extremely demanding. I explained this to my daughter, and I use Instagram actually. I'm very, very active on Instagram at the Catalyst of Growth because I share what I'm doing during the day. And this is how my family and my kids are following, and they know what I'm going through. So when I tell them, like, I have a week where I'm not going to be seeing you so much, they are following and knowing what I'm doing. And then when it's family time, I just shut everything off. I close my phone. No, I'm unreachable, and I'm focused on my family. My kids are older than Sarah, so they are 16 and 17 now. So now I'm begging them to spend some time with them. So it's a bit different, but it's really setting expectations and knowing that you can have it all, but sometimes a piece of your life is going to take over because you're launching something or because there's a family event that you need to be focusing on, and that's okay. You don't need to be doing it all the time.
Thank you. In business, the other common word everybody is using is hustling, right? So what do each of you believe about hustling? And Christine, you can go around and start with that. And what all are your experiences around hustling?
I think we're all hustling all the time, and now with the present situation, with COVID, with all the uncertainty, with the world is going upside down, so we don't have the choice not to hustle. But for me, if I wanted to explain what hustle means to me, it will be like constantly learning and unlearning and relearning, because like sometimes you learn something and it works for you during a certain phase of your life or a phase of your business, and then it's completely different in a different phase. So it's this growth mindset of constantly learning, unlearning, relearning, succeeding, failing, picking up the pieces, learning again and doing it again. So hustling for me is just accepting that it's a constant movement, and something that worked for you today doesn't necessarily work for you tomorrow. And you need to, I think the most difficult is the unlearning process to be able to become better at whatever you're doing.
Thank you, Sara.
So for me, when I first came to Dubai and I started hearing the word hustling, it meant in French, I will translate it, those very annoying people that don't want to go away. And then we just be like, oh, they're hustlers. And I'd be like, okay, I've never heard this word before, right? I'm French speaker. So, and then I realized that today, I won't say I'm a hustler, but I would say I'm somebody that would follow up, would not give up, would not say no for an answer. So if I know I can do it, I will make sure it happens. And I remember last year, I met someone and they said, oh my God, you're selling in Spinneys. How did you do that? And then I just answer, well, I don't take no for an answer. I would try to understand until the end of why they don't want me and try to find the solution. So in that way, you could say I'm a hustler, but I'm a very nice hustler.
True, very true. So then there's a question asked by one of the listeners. Being an Arab woman, is that difficult in business, or what are your experiences around businesses for Arab women? Sara, you can go.
So I did a lot of podcasts and talks and everything about being a woman in business. And I must say, I've worked in industries that were always male dominated, from investment banking to consulting to media to all that stuff at a very high level. You always end up being the only woman. But what's surprising to me is that sometimes I'm in the middle of a panel or an interview or something, and then I have this question saying, does your husband help you? And my husband is a very successful, known entrepreneur, but nobody ever asks him if I help him, And I'm like, why are you asking me this question? Can't women just do things and be successful without the help of their husband or their father or their friend? I mean, and then it never hit me really until like very recently. I kept on getting this question from, I don't know, a real estate agent where I'm going to rent a bigger warehouse and a bigger office. And they said, oh, you're quite successful. Your husband must be helping you. And I'm like, but why do we still have this in mind? No matter which industry and who you are and what you achieve and how much you work, we still believe that women can't do it. And I think that stigma is what everybody is trying to stop and people are trying to support. I don't really like that movement because for me, men and women are the same and we're just equal in every single thing. But now I understand why people ask this question. I didn't understand this for a while. But now that people are asking me more and more, I mean, like, your husband must be helping you. And I'm like, no, he doesn't even know what I do. He didn't even understand what a lunchbox meant, that we need to pack food for a kid. I mean, no, it's all me. And I think this is where it's difficult. But I feel the mentalities are changing and people do want, I think it's actually the time to be a woman in business today because there is a lot of support and a lot of focus are on women. So yeah, that was my little anecdote story.
Great. And I'm in business and my wife completely helps me. So I'm proud
There
about
you
that. But I hope your husband's not listening. He won't be happy that you said he doesn't know what a lunchbox is.
Oh, well, he would say it's true. Where we come from, we don't eat in lunchboxes. We just eat in a canteen. So,
Christine, your take on Arab women in business?
Very, I can relate to everything that Sara was saying. When I started, but it was the age as well. I was 22, so someone would come to the meeting. They were expecting the manager, and they would wait, and I would start the conversation. No, let's wait for the manager to come out. Like, okay, that's it. You're not having anyone else. And actually, I had someone that just stood up and left. He said, "No, you're too young. You're a woman. I cannot deal with this," and I just left. But actually, things have changed a lot over the past 20 years. And as Sara was saying, now being a woman in business is the best thing in the world because you have support, you have a lot of people who want to change this mentality. And at first, as Sara was saying, I didn't like to be called a female entrepreneur or a woman entrepreneur because for me, an entrepreneur is an entrepreneur. So it's a woman, a man, we're all faced with challenges that comes with entrepreneurship. But then I realized that if we want to change this mindset and making sure that when someone says entrepreneur, female also comes to mind, we need to focus a little bit more on female entrepreneurs. So for example, Rohit, I met you through YPO. When I talk to someone and I say, let's say I'm meeting a YPOer, people would expect that this YPOer is a man. They wouldn't think that a YPOer is a woman. So changing this perception, but again, a lot have happened over the past 20 years. Things are going much faster. And I absolutely agree that being a woman in business is a great plus and not a minus at all.
Great. Tell me about your YPO journey. How did you come about YPO and now you're coming onto the regional board? I think you already are and you're taking a newer position, right? So would love to hear about that.
Actually, YPO is one of the best things I've ever done in my life. So if any one of you entrepreneurs or business woman or man have one thing to add to your bucket list, Sara, I don't know if you're on YPO yet, but if not, put it on your bucket list and make sure you get there because it's been life-changing. First in growth and education and meeting like-minded people. I think YPO had an impact on me personally, on my business, on my family, on absolutely every aspect of my life. And now it's a big part of my life. And with YPO, like in life, the more you give, the more you get. Like the more, this is why I'm part of the board. I'm moderating the retail group. I'm extremely active because I feel that this organization gave me so much. And the more I give, I get back exponentially. So if you don't know what YPO is, just Google it and make sure it's on your bucket list.
Coming back to passion, right? So we're all passionate and that's why we've been successful. question to you, Christine, specifically, again, around the focus. How can you be passionate about multiple things? And to Sara, the counter question is, how can you be passionate just about lunchboxes?
Actually, I'm passionate about multiple things, but the purpose is one thing. Okay, so for example, if I take Dunkin, we all, Dunkin in Lebanon, so my team, if you ask anyone in my team, if someone that started a month ago or someone who have been with us for 10 years, what do we do? They will tell you that we're spreading happiness. And the donuts and the coffee are just tools to put a smile on people's faces. If you go to Simsum and you ask someone, what do you do? We're also spreading happiness and putting a smile on people's faces by delivering amazing experience or Lebanese experience. So people feel that they escaped from whatever country they're in, they went to Lebanon and came back. So even if the tools are different, like we do it through donuts and coffees, through hummus with Simsum, with Home and a Bite, through delivery boxes. But what we're trying to do is to put a smile on people's faces. So our purpose is the same across all the brands. We're trying to make an impact on people's lives. And whenever every single person in the organization understands and believes this is where we can become successful.
Great. Sara, how can you be passionate only about lunchboxes?
So I'll just say something. My true passion is not necessarily the lunch boxes. That's the first product we started with. The true passion and what we say to our clients and our mission and stuff is basically making products that are safe, that work. And when I say that work, that's a big statement, because basically as a mom, you end up buying so many products that you throw because they were designed by a maid on a laptop, on a screen. Every single product that we design comes from a need of a kid for a real, from a real need of a kid. So it's nothing to do with only being cute. It's being functional and working. And our passion really is that moms trust us. You know, if you walk into Whole Foods in the States or to the organic shop here, in the back of your mind, you know that those stores have selected only the best for you. So you go there and you buy those products thinking, I don't need to read the label. This is what we're trying to do with our products. We're promising you, and we have QR codes and everything for you to trace where the products have come, where the material we're using is made of. And we're telling you, you don't need to search, you can trust us. And this is what we're doing. We want as many kids as possible to be eating in clean products, which seems very simple and easy. But I don't know if you guys know, very recently there was a big debate and issue about plastic products in Europe being recalled because they contain cancer-causing product. And this material I've never done it because the Chinese themselves were saying they're banned in China. Why is Europe buying it? So a lot of time is about making sure that we don't do this only because it's a commercial business. And all my team knows that. And I'm the first one that does that. If a product is not safe, do not bring it to me. Do not talk about it. I am not doing it. Anything I wouldn't give to my kids, I wouldn't sell. And that sounds like very utopic and easy and stuff, but it's true. I wouldn't do it. I'd rather have a 2% margin and sleep in the night than have a 200% margin on a product that could be harmful for a kid. So that's my true passion.
Great. Sara, you were
Actually,
telling us...
Rohit, can I add something here? Yes. And I think if there's something whoever is listening can learn from what I said and what Sara said, at the end of the day, our products are tools, but we're catering to a human need that is the same across gender, across culture, across geographies. Like in our case, we're focusing on happiness. My team calls me the CEO of happiness, or we call the smiling business, etc. In the case of Sara, is the safety, is the fact, the trust that you need. So whether she's selling lunchbox or tomorrow she could be selling something else, it's not what she's selling, it's what the human need that she's fulfilling. In her case, it's safety. In our case, and is happiness. And I would encourage any entrepreneur that is listening to us to look at what is the human need that they are fulfilling, what is the human need that they are covering, and not to be stuck only on the product level.
Again, to both of you, I think Samsung is in many countries, and I think Sara is taking her product to many countries as well. So starting with Christine on Samsung's journey across various geographies, how did you manage the dynamics of working with different cultures, different nationalities, and also expanding to different countries? And the same question to Sara as well.
Actually, this has been very interesting because I always say it's similar to my comments about human needs, that even if we come in different packages, we all have a lot of things in common. And usually politics, etc., is focusing on the differences. But if you think about it, the human race have a lot of things in common. And going to Saudi or going to Kuwait or going to different countries, there are some, as long as the focus is very clear and the team, whether in any country, knows that we're focusing on spreading happiness, on making people happy, on putting a smile on people's faces, this really transcends any culture. But there are some cultural differences. So we do, for example, in Kuwait, they eat the mashewi, like the grills with rice. So we added rice as a side, which is not the case of Lebanon. So we consider that 80% of our menu is the same, 20% changes or adapts from country to country, but the essence is the same. And the most important is for the team members to all understand what the purpose is, what the essence is, and everything else becomes easier.
Thank you. Question before coming to Sara. Christine, what do you do when you are unhappy?
When I'm unhappy? Well, this is very, very rare, I have to admit, but for me, it's more the energy than the happiness. Like I feel I have an energy bucket, and I usually have a lot of energy, but sometimes my body shuts down and I just stop. And understanding what works for you, what depletes your energy, what increases your energy, this is very important. And I protect my energy now. I protect my positive vibes. I protect myself because for me this is very important. Rohit, I'm gonna have to drop in like 4 minutes because, as you know, I have a class that starts at 6. So I'll have to drop at 5 to 6. So.
For me, very similar to what Christine was saying. Basically, we know our values and we know what we're doing. And we know a kid in China or a kid in Russia or a kid in Australia has the same needs of drinking from a water bottle, or the mother has a need of having a lunchbox or a bag to transport the food of their kids. I think what we're learning, we're launching quite aggressively in China with our first boutique store and the full team in China. And Chinese culture is so different anything else I have seen. So for example, in the packaging now, our water bottles, we say they keep the water cold for 24 hours. And now for the Chinese market, we have to say, well, it keeps the water warm for 12 hours as the first big tagline, because the kids don't drink cold. They only drink hot. So all the small things. So for me, launching China is almost launching Citron all over again. It's so much fun. It's so exciting. And every single day I'm learning something. Those people are in a different level than anything I have seen in the Middle East or anything in Europe or anything I've seen. And for me, it's just fun. And this is what I want to keep.
Great. A question has come for both of you before Christine leaves. Young woman entrepreneur, what would be the 1 or 2 advice? I know this whole session has been about advice and passion, but would love if you can give 1 or 2 advices to a young budding entrepreneur. Christine, you can go.
I can go first. First is do something that you're passionate about. Like do something that you truly, genuinely believe in from the bottom of your heart. Because at the end of the day, we're spending most of our life working. So we might as well do it with something that we love doing. Or like Sara said, maybe you don't know what your passion is when you start, but then with time you will know. And then take a leap of faith and go after something you're passionate about. So this will be one. Second, I always say something that Sara said as well, not to take no for an answer. Again, you can be whoever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do. And whoever tells you the opposite, just don't listen. Don't listen and keep going. And third, failure is a big taboo in the Middle East, which is not the case in the US or in other countries. And embracing failure, like not everything I did worked. We had a lot of failures across our journey, but learning from the failure, picking up the pieces, and coming up stronger because you learned so much from what you failed, and not letting failure crush you, and keep going. Like just do something you love. So this is the thing that I think is very important.
Another question for you before we come back to Sara. What is your mantra for structured thinking?
Wow, can you ask this again?
What is your mantra for structured thinking? How have you become so structured? And so was this a learning over years, or this is how you've always been? And what is your mantra around that?
Well, I'm not sure because I've always been passionate and organized at the same time. So I really follow my hunch, but I try to make sure I plan things, just not to get to leave pieces around. So I don't really have an answer. It came naturally, but I learned a lot. I'm always growing. I'm always learning. I've done, as you know, many executive program at Harvard, at Stanford, at LBS. Like it's understanding that the more you know that you don't know, and keep growing, keep learning, and not stopping. And I think this is important.
Sara, advice to a young woman entrepreneur.
For me, young or old doesn't matter really. I would say I've been in corporate and I've never thought that working could be fun. I always thought that working would be very stressful. Every morning I had this like stressing in my tummy. I didn't feel well. I didn't want to go. And I just realized that having fun while working, then you never work again. Because as of now, people are asking me, oh, you must be having a lot of work. And my answer is, I never work. I'm just having fun. And I'm literally having fun. And I used to work, but I am having fun now. For me, it's a vacation all day long. And I work every single day until midnight, 1 a.m. I can't even explain that feeling of, I don't want it to stop. And I want to wake up and do it again. And I think once you find that, just take it, embrace it, and do it until the end. I think that's, for me, the biggest advice is really, once you feel it's fun and you don't feel it's work and you feel you can do it, carry on. I'm sure you can do very, very well. So, and you don't need $1 million to start a business. You can start very small and you can try and then fail and try again until it works. And doesn't matter, fail and do it again.
Last 2 minutes to each of you. What is the advice? Anything you'd like to tell the audience? Anything.
Just do it. Right. Just do it. Whatever you want to do, just go and do it. And as Sara was saying, have fun, embrace the journey, because it's not about the end result, it's about the journey as well. So enjoy the journey, enjoy people around you, enjoy working with your team, enjoy your family. Like, life is too short to be doing something that you don't like to do. And if there's something that COVID taught everyone, is to reshuffle our values and refocus on what's really essential. And I really have to drop, so unfortunately I'm not gonna listen to the last point. So it's been a real pleasure being here. And Sara, it's been a real pleasure getting to know you more.
And thanks for bringing that. It's my favorite restaurant in Beirut.
Good, I'm happy to hear that. Okay, have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Sara, to you.
For me, as I was saying, ignorance is a blessing. I really weigh my words when I say this. So I think I would just be ignorant, make mistakes, make your own mistakes. If you're somebody that is really wise, learn from the others is always good. It's not easy, but I think learn from your mistakes and carry on and just try, keep on trying. It doesn't matter. It's not because your friend of your cousin did something and it didn't work, then the whole world has to stop. I was just talking to a friend yesterday about one of those, pay now, the like TiE, I forgot.
Buy now, pay later.
Yeah, that just got acquired. And I was just saying, those people launched in January 2020 and they sold their company after 18 months.
That was
Why
not Tabby.
No, it's not TiE. It's the other one that got sold to the Australians
Okay.
after 18 months of,
Being in
I,
business. Yeah.
yeah, and why not? Why not? Why them and not you? I mean, I truly believe that if Steve Jobs could do that, you can do it. Everybody can do it. And that's my mantra in life, is that we're all human beings with about the same qualities and qualifications. If we want to do it, we can do it. So for me, I don't limit myself to somebody that told me that it was hard or the journey is going to be hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it. So take
So
hard as a good thing.
what's your dream for Citron in the next 5-10 years?
For me, it's really taking it across the globe. This is what we want. We want every single country to have our product. So this year we have a target of 25 countries. We are already at 15. So
Congratulations.
thank you. And working hard, the more countries we add, the happier we are.
That's important. Thank you
Yes.
so much, Sara. It was a pleasure.
Same here.
Now hand it over to Cicely to talk about our next events. So thank you so much, Sara. It was a pleasure. Great learning, great experience sharing. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rohit. Thank you, Sara.
Thank
you for keeping it very candid and real. To all the women entrepreneurs in the audience, please make sure you apply for our TiE Women program. It's a great opportunity to compete amongst global women entrepreneurs, and there's a equity-free prize of 135,000. So head to tiedubai.org.